Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Granite Mountain Movie Club. Thanks for listening. Today we're talking about Nightcrawler from 2014, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Reminder to check out the show's sponsor, exitgroup.us. Go check it out. Look at the homepage if that's something that you think would be interesting to you. And if you listen to this show, it probably is something that's interesting to you. Then check it out and maybe inquire about becoming a member. And with that, let's get on to the show. All right, welcome everyone to the Granite Mountain Movie Club. Today we're going to be talking about the 2014 movie Nightcrawler, which a lot of what would you say, disaffected or stunted young men identify with this movie. They find something there that reminds them of themselves. And I've got Arturo back. Frequent contributor Arturo. How are you doing? How are the San Antonio Spurs doing, Arturo?
Well, the Spurs are doing great. I'm doing well too, hanging in there, just crawling through night by night. And what's funny, I had actually never seen this film until like 2 or 3 months ago. I'll say more about that in a second. But yeah, actually, it was, sometimes there's just movies you sort of miss. Obviously knew about its reputation and sort of, aesthetic place it holds in the hearts of many, but I'd never actually seen it until coincidentally a few months ago. But I'm fortuitous to allow us to do this pod, which I think is going to be a very interesting twist on it.
Yeah. Were you assigned? What did Grant come to you and like say, "Hey, you got to check this movie out. We're going to talk about it later"?
No, that's what I'm saying. I happened to watch it a few months ago. Actually, so I was It's funny. I've been working the night shift at a hotel a few nights a week. It's like 11 to 7. It's very boring, obviously, during the most. So a lot of nights I'll try to get like one full movie in just on the TV in the lobby. And one night I happened upon a Nightcrawler. I was like, this is sort of, this matches the vibe. It's like 3 a.m.
That's just
getting
like
money.
That's just like on the satellite or whatever at the hotel. So is it like edited?
It's a smart TV that has Tubi access. So it's just watching on Tubi like any other, red-blooded American.
If a guest walks in while Jake Gyllenhaal's like killing his assistant or whatever.
That's true. That might be a bad luck, but it's like I said, it's like 3 a.m. So no one.
Yeah.
Okay. No one ever. I put on crazier shit.
What were you able to? So were you able to get it on? Were you streaming it from Tubi? Because currently it's free on Tubi now. So
yeah.
Hopefully this gets released.
I mean, with Tubi and Pluto and all those, I feel like they pass the movies around. Like every month, it's on a different site. First Reformed was on there, and then it was gone, and now it's back. I don't know, but yeah, it was. I mean, I just watched, watched it like any other Tubi American would, and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad to get a chance to.
So that other voice you guys. Oh, sorry, Arturo. Sorry, Arturo. I'm talking over you because I needed to talk before Zuki started talking again. That other voice you hear is the first time guest. He's a bit of a Nightcrawler himself, I think. We'll let him get into that, but you go by Zuki, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of infamous. A lot of people know you, but what's the like the 30-second intro to who you are if people don't know?
I'm Zuki, the motorcycle radical. That's gonna be my shtick, my gimmick, my newfound persona I've developed online on what is now called X. And then I don't really use any. I don't have a big known personality outside of the Twitter X platform.
But X is real life. X is more real than real.
I was gonna say, like, if it's only because you throw so much of yourself into X that like it's all encapsulated within. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that you don't have a life outside. It's that like life, you brought it all inside. And I look up. I mean, obviously it's disgusting. Sometimes I'll just be frank. Some mistakes you do annoy me, but I respect you deeply as someone who says it how it is. Because so many people just lie and dissemble.
I keep on saying this. I'm the realest nigga on this app, and on the X app. And then I kind of got into this sphere because I'm not exactly sure what really triggered it so much, but it was really after like Trump won 2016. And like all the best memes, all the relevant takes really seemed like you were just screen caps of this stuff getting on Facebook, getting on Instagram, getting on it's like the stuff that was just going around the internet with what people, the lingo, what people were saying. I definitely wasn't a 4chan guy. I hardly used. I was a lurker on certain forums. Not something. I wasn't a Arma guy. I wasn't a something awful guy because I hated those. But um, and people have forgotten the forum like Terminal Boredom, but that was more of like the hipster music like forum that were filled with people I hated. Just people just that were all snarky hipsters, just terrible people I wanted to beat up in real life. And but I found myself here with that whole, I guess more people align with like Campbot and like the Chapo Trap House people and all this stuff, and like Nick Mullen and all these guys were all like kind of posting there and posting some bangers and jokes, and then and yeah, so but I'm known because a woman that decided to document a lot of this stuff going on for her documentary. I smoked crack with her like 10 years ago, and it was, and hashtag it was her crack. It was not. I'm not. I pan to God. I did not. It wasn't because I was a crackhead and I was like at a party and gave her crack. It was because she was dating a crackhead to give my best like take from it about her situation at the time. She and her crackhead boyfriend came to the party, and then I smoked crack with her, and like
Well,
it
that's
was.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's well, a minute ago you were saying something like, "Oh, you are not necessarily known in real life," but that's actually a very funny thing for you to say because you pop up in real life all the time. Sounds like people are
Well,
always, there's always these incidents with you.
yeah, sometimes, yeah, some of it, most of it, maybe it's like trouble I go out and look for, but the main one was, but yeah, I mean, I also had a history before like things got really, really online. But I was definitely part of like the weird, these like weird subcultures or orbits that were already developing even before Twitter. It became much more like, yeah, all this other, like, I mean, but it's funny because this was by the time, if you don't really watch this, all right, so this is going to be kind of like taking in like what Nightcrawler was, because it wasn't necessarily there was there's an insinuation about the rise of the internet within that film, right? And but it was still just like a movie about, TV network rating, all this
Yeah,
other stuff. That like the social media aspect didn't really. It wasn't as, you know just um much more of an imprint, right? Or it has this kind of link. Like it's not. It's definitely not um that integral with, even though
I,
there's
I
like all
didn't
this other stuff. No.
I didn't look this up, but the movie comes out 2014, but it kind of feels like it was written in like the late 90s because
Exactly.
there's like
Yes.
there's no sense of like internet or social media. Like by 2014, everyone was, using Facebook, been around like 10 years by that point. So
The Social
Yeah,
Network
it's
came
this was
out.
the same. Sort of cut you off. This was the same year as like the what's his name, Michael Brown video. Like viral videos captured by civilians on phones were already like more of like a structuring uh,
yeah, and the
people's. Yeah,
iPhone had been around. Well, that came out what, like 2008 or 9 or something, right? So it had been around.
yeah, and not to get too
But
far off, but it does. I do find it interesting that the movie was released sort of like right before the Trump moment, and like I mean, there's this whole nexus of like literally me sort of being like Chud coded identifier. Like this guy almost like the movie came out at the perfect time for it to take on a whole different like meaning, or I guess valence, that it didn't have in 2014, but like quickly adopted. So it's both anachronistic and like weirdly ahead of its time as well.
yeah, and real quick, something I wanted to touch on before we go any further. But Zuki, the reason I reached out to you about this movie is because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I recall you had posted photos from the scene of the Rob Reiner killing. Does that
Well, I didn't
not
just
like in the
post
house? I
photos,
just
but
mean
I wasn't there. I didn't like sneak into the mansion.
you
I
weren't
mean,
with
I
Nick
could have.
Reiner.
There
Yeah,
was there was like a moment in time I could have actually done this, where I could have just like got on my motorcycle, parked, and then just like had my like helmet cam on and just like explored his mansion to see all the blood and all this other stuff. And no, I can't do this. I mean, I would get in so much. I mean, like in the movie, this guy gets away with it, but like, if I were to do that, I'd be in jail right now. I would have been like, I got breaking and entering charges. I would just be doxxed and be like, this guy, this piece of shit, just fucking.
Okay, I mean, you weren't like first on the scene or whatever, but you did.
Yeah.
You were up there, right?
Yeah. I was up there. The bodies were still there. The bodies were still. Like the DA wasn't going to. Still didn't move the bodies yet from the crime scene. And again, their son. I forget his name escapes me.
Nick. It's Nick Reiner, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so Nick Reiner was like all the way out in like the USC area in LA County in LA. So that happened in Brentwood I think it was Brentwood, and his son he already took the bus all the way out to USC, and he was later arrested there later that night.
He was a bus guy. Interesting.
Well, he took the bus. He took the bus all the way down to USC from West LA, and he was always like, and that was like. He wasn't even arrested that night. Like that, by the time I was there, like the bodies were still in the Reiner household, and then his son was still on the loose. And
did you see who was it? It wasn't like Billy Crystal that had to come over. Did you see them arrive, like stuff like that?
Yeah, I didn't see Billy Crystal, but he ended up showing up. But by that time I was so bored and I wasn't gonna wait around. And everyone else always had their cameras and all the television crews already had their stuff set up. All the local TV, all the TMZ, all the NBC, ABC, CBS, KTLA. All those guys are all set up with their professional camera crews and their correspondents like on standby, ready to take questions from the chief of police and like the district attorney need be, right? So but and I was just like, I'm not gonna ask. There's nothing I wanted to ask. And the crazy part was during this time, and this is also true for the last in the incident in Westwood at the car crash, was that I was getting all this stuff from Twitter, from X, breaking the news, and it's just like, this thing happened in LA. I'm like, oh shit, I'll just go. I know exactly where that area is. I'm just gonna just ride my fucking motorcycle out there.
Have you gone to other? I feel like I've seen pics from other places you've gone.
Yeah.
Maybe you did a bunch of stuff after the fires and stuff. You were up there like documenting the damage, like in real time though. You were pretty early.
Yeah. It was just all from getting it from like social media. Obviously, I'm getting it as quickly as a guy in India, literally like across the ocean, is getting his. I mean, I'm not really that quick, right? Because it's like in the movie in Nightcrawler, they're using a police scanner, right? They're just kind of they all have to buy these like police scanners and they're just like waiting. They have to have that on, have that thing on in their car, like have it with the car on.
And you don't do that. You don't have that set up.
Yeah, and then 911 dispatch. I mean, I guess I could, but then it's like, why? What's the point? And I would hate to pursue this type of life, but next thing you know, I'm now just using X like everyone else, right? And my benefit is that, like in the movie Nightcrawler, he drives like I think he's the car he buys or steals maybe.
A Charger, I think.
It's a Charger, yeah. I think I'm pretty sure it's a Charger with his partner and all this stuff. And they also have like a laptop GPS, like Blue Force tracker set up,
Yeah.
So like they have it all set up now. I mean, I'm just using my like phone, and I don't even have my phone out. I don't even have like a little stand for my phone. Maybe I should, and I could start delivering food.
Oh, sorry for the car heads. It's a Challenger, not a Charger.
Okay, yeah, it's a Challenger. Yes, it's a Challenger. I wasn't. You know what's funny? I should have paid more attention to which car that was, but it was because there was also all these locations. I mean, they filmed in LA. It's a very LA movie.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what how well do you think what do you think of the movie's take or how it captures LA.
I would say it's it makes everything seem closer than they are. And because but that's what I loved about the movie was that it is just a very LA film where they filmed that. But like those types of guys and the lifestyle, it just wasn't. You would meet a guy like that. That he plays the guy Bloom, Louis. I think his name is
Yeah,
Lou Bloom.
Lou
It's
Bloom,
it's
yeah.
like this guy would just like work in porn sets like myself, like back in that day or something like this. Um, well, he was somebody who's like willing to murder people and all that, but like, um, well, you know what? He doesn't. I don't think the weird thing is in the movie. It's just that I've never met someone so openly like psychopathic. You know what I mean? He actually kind of, if you notice, he doesn't really lack charm. He actually kind of lacks charm, like real charm, like a charm
He
that.
can he
Mm,
can turn it on temporarily and briefly.
yeah, yeah, but then oftentimes it's like this weird robotic. Like, oh yeah, like everyone could tell. Like I could totally tell you're just a total like psychopath. You just have no
After
emotion. Like
I have met people like this, like I find people like this in sort of business networking settings. I don't overtly go to stuff like this, but when I was much younger, I'd go to these, like at my university or something, right? You're going to these like business networking things, and I recall meeting people who for about 10 seconds were capable of seeming normal, but then after that
yeah.
they would start to turn into Lou Bloom.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
That's
more
where
interesting.
you'll find these like sort of like shameless like I don't want to call him. I mean, he's a striver, right? He's striving to like make it. That's where you'll find these sort of people, though. You'll find them at like networking or sort of professional events, like LinkedIn type people who can't read between the lines and like think that being a LinkedIn person is like a good idea.
Okay, yeah, that
I
makes
definitely get what you mean. Yeah.
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 Yeah. But obviously, but you don't I don't but like I don't go to those types of events really. But I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
have to
you might meet these, you might encounter crazy people, just at a party. Doing
That's what's
crack.
interesting about this movie is that this guy is not in the same like class as the people you're talking about, granted. But like
Yeah.
for whatever class he represents, and I actually, maybe it's like a more working class. Although obviously he doesn't seem to like a straight job. But like he's like a striver in like a different, the kind of person who doesn't have a LinkedIn, the kind of person who
Well,
didn't get a
the weird thing I should say is like there's people exactly like him that are like they're actually, you can tell they're broke.
Yeah.
And like when I was in college, like you kind of, these would be like MBA students and stuff. You'd like know you'd know they're broke, and like they would just have a weird demeanor. Like this type of guy is actually all over the business world too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I mentioned earlier because the Social Network came out in 2010. I consider it that would be a great companion piece to this movie, to Nightcrawler. Because you see, I mean, I'm not saying this was Mark Zuckerberg in real life or whatever. He's being portrayed by that Eisenberg guy, but like he acts like Bloom in that movie as well. He has this kind of like, later you start talking about numbers and he becomes like this like psychopathic like T-800 robot going on about.
I was looking at like Reddit and like video essay type sort of takes on the character, and like the main sort of take on the movie is that like he's like a genuine depiction of like a psychopath. You know what I mean? It's not someone who's like kind of foaming at the mouth or like Hannibal Lecterish, but just his sort of total situational amorality. And like there's another anecdote that's like like psychopaths do well in the business world, or like 1 in 10, 20 people in like this room are a psychopath if you're like in a business. You know what I mean? Talking about that sort of.
I've always heard that. Yeah.
And I mean, so that obviously there's some exaggeration, and even I don't even necessarily like think it's maybe clinically helpful to use terms like that, although it's not my. But yeah, it definitely is resonant, like you said, in reminding us of guys like this that we've known in various, throughout all different contexts and like socioeconomic classes. Like for whatever a thing is, there's like a Lou Bloom type guy around the edges.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all over social
Arturo,
media. They're all over the influencer scene.
you know, actually, I'm looking at my notes now. I worked for a guy that was like that was like Lou. I mean, he he was a little better. Like, I don't think he would do a lot of the things that were depicted in this movie, but he was like needlessly and pointlessly like cruel.
Hmm.
Um, and would like, yeah, just like you could tell like he didn't get it. Like he was my manager, but I was like way at the bottom and he was right above me, and like you could tell he had no idea like what he was supposed to be doing, but he would give me these like instructions or like feedback with so much confidence and like sense of like correctness. Like you could tell he thought he was really really right, but he obviously had no idea what was going on himself. um and then over time, like people would be like, hey, we're sorry we made you work for him. Like we thought he was ready for it, but he's actually insane. So
Well, I mean, but
yeah.
what I got out of like Nightcrawler with the character, with the main character Bloom, was just that, well, he knows what's going on. He's very like aware in terms of not socially in the way he talked with people, or like at least person to person in those scenes, but just like um he seemed like a very competent character. But that's the thing. I don't think he would have just been he would have went that route with basically becoming like the media equivalent of an ambulance chaser, right? So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
just like lawyers are, but like there's lawyer ambulance chasers, and then the stringers are basically like this in the kind of like in the local news network world, where that whole phrase, like it bleeds, it leads, and it's still very true today. And definitely like the conditions have definitely evolved as well because of the internet and social media. That it's not really addressed, because this movie came out in 2014. Social Network came out in 2010. Um, and even then, it wasn't like it was more of like the business side of things. It wasn't really about how it was going to affect how people got their news, how people think. I mean, things have like the development of how like social media has warped minds, and how it's also changed like the newsroom, um, the production side of things is just like. I mean, we could go on for another hour with this, but that's not what's being addressed. So.
Yeah, real quick, Arturo, I wanted to get your take. Like, what do you think of this movie? Do you think it's good,
Well,
bad,
it
general?
it's pretty good. It is extremely hyped, in a way like hard to live up to that hype. But not even because in terms of quality, just like I've known this movie's existed for like over 10 years, and so naturally you sort of build up in your mind what it's gonna be like, and then inevitably, no matter how many like Wikipedia summaries you read or whatever, not that I didn't know what was gonna happen in the movie actually, but it always ends up being different. I kind of didn't like the cinematography. I'll just be straight up about that. The digital, I don't know, in a way, like it adds to the verisimilitude, but there's a part of me that finds the way that it looks kind of cheap in a distracting way. But I think besides that, I thought it was. I mean, it's a very good film. Obviously, Gyllenhaal is insane in it in a good way, and it, you know, comes to a satisfying conclusion in the sense that it's not just like I guess we can spoil it, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
no,
just go wherever. I mean,
not
yeah,
yeah, not it's not satisfying because like it's like oh, bad guys and that evil wins in the end, and things suck. More so that like it's a testament to his craftiness, and it's almost like you applaud the movie for being as crafty as its like most mischievous character. Does that make sense? I don't know. That was kind of long winded, but I like that. I thought it was good.
yeah. I mean, there's an interesting. I think the main thing that the movie does that's interesting is it kind of tells the story from Lou's perspective. Like, um, they use the music. I don't know if you guys noticed or had seen anything about this, but like if you notice that there's times like when I think there's a scene where Lou is driving, they drive to the scene of a crash, and the bodies are like not in the most cinematic. There's a body on the ground from a car, and it's not in the most cinematic position. And so Lou, he drags the body into a better frame,
Yeah.
like as if he was working on a feature film.
Yeah.
And the music, I think it's this scene, but this happens multiple times. But the music is like sort of triumph. It's like this triumphant, like guitar is climbing sort of thing, and so they're using the music like this is how Lou thinks of himself. He thinks he's
Mhm.
doing he's like I'm really smart. I'm doing something really clever here. I'm like I'm yeah like I'm progressing in the world, and so you're like it's and by the end of the movie he wins, right? He never faces any, there's never any consequences, right? He's so it's kind of like a warped some sort of warped hero movie where he thinks of himself as a hero. Some of the cinematography and music kind of are done in that way, although everything we see him doing is like is off-putting.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's already established in like the very first moments of the film. This guy is a bad guy. He probably did kill the security guard in the beginning of the movie. It doesn't they don't show it. I kind of like that how they did that. It's like they kind of like they didn't show him like murder the guy or anything like that. But I mean, there's like a lot of implications that he probably did murder him, and then like stole all the fencing to later like sell it off. And it just establishes that the character is this like evil psychopath, right? So
Yeah.
you know, um, and it's so yeah. I mean, he's basically he's kind of moving up the ladder as a stringer, and like I guess that's what they call it in the newsroom. Um, yeah, they use the term stringer as well for like reporters like out in war zones, and I actually kind of wanted to be like a combat correspondent back in the day, and be out there and filming this stuff. Actually, there was this is actually the terrible thing about me was that um, I don't know if I really come off this way at all. Maybe I do, but he's like, but yeah, I mean. I didn't really care for being in LA. I wanted to do this kind of work in war zones, like out in Iraq or
Interesting.
something like that, during when like ISIS was, um, just like taking over Iraq, and then
Yeah.
you
And
had all
what's
the
sort of
war
cut you
zones.
off, like that was about the same time as this movie came out, right? Like 2015, 14, mid, sort of like late
Yeah,
Obama
yeah.
years.
And by the way, I watched this again recently due to this. We were gonna have this talk, it was easy for me because I could just like stream it online. But like the thing was like I saw it in theaters back, when I was still in LA. And I mean I've been in LA since, but by that point, yeah, I was already kind of still just very much settled in LA, back in LA again. But I almost I almost considered getting out of LA, and even traveling to Iraq or whatever. But that I saw it in theaters, and actually I remember fondly that it was the rapper Ludacris was in the theater I was at. It was actually the iPic in Westwood. Yeah, so he was also with a very attractive woman.
Nice.
And I didn't say anything, but I didn't really say anything to him, but I knew that was ludicrous because then everyone knows him from, the Fast and Furious, film franchise. Um, s- and I think he probably liked the movie as much as I did when I first saw it. I mean, yeah, I definitely liked the movie. Um,
You think
it
Ludacris
was
appreciated the portrayal of a psychopath or sociopath?
in yeah, it's especially journalists and paparazzi, I mean, which is kind of at that tier of who like Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal
good
is,
point.
you
Good
know.
point. He probably he probably had like a lot of contempt for a stringer.
Yeah, for I mean, maybe not that this type of stringer. I mean, there's obviously people like the paparazzi, like TMZ people though, that they love to get reactions out of celebrities that and then maybe even say something to make them crash out or something like that.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting. Like, who do you think would, like, a character like Bloom, who's like almost like over the top in his like versus like the sort of normal, like vaguely sociopathic, really annoying, like sort of like boundary pushing paparazzi, the sort of stereotypical like really like snooty kind of effete guy who's just trying to get your good. Do you know what I mean? Like, who would annoy people more? I almost feel like that guy is even more just like there's a I wouldn't say charm because he's not charming in like a Gosling literally me way, but there's something to Bloom that makes him like slightly less contemptible because he's like totally because there's no ambiguity as to how he's a bad guy. Whereas in real life, even these like really annoying paparazzi still have they have this like pretense of like fake politeness, which only makes them more. Or am I completely wrong? And like he's just even worse than that kind of person.
Well, yeah. So, and things have really changed the game, though, right? Because of social media and the phone, everyone is basically their own leaker, their own like drama machine, their own doxer. Because they're always out there, like now. Yeah, now it's either these incidents of like paparazzi stuff happening. It's because of like leaked texts. Because of like it's just some random guy decided he's just gonna pull out his fucking phone because some shit happens, and this has happened to several celebrities now. It's not like they don't need. There's no like there's no Nightcrawler guy like with a holding a big actual camcorder around anymore. It's
Yeah.
just like everyone is now potentially the Nightcrawler because everyone some average guy can just pull out his phone because he's right there at the moment.
Well, that's what
Just
I assumed. Did the phone kill night crawling? Did it kill the stringer industry?
Yeah, so it gets really weird because when I was able to just like ride to a recent fatal crash incident because I read it, someone gave me a heads up online, or it was on my feed, and then I'm like, holy shit. And then I was kind of close to the area, so I already had my motorcycle, and I ride out there, and I'm seeing and then because I got all this footage on the ground, even though people have even worse, like crazier footage like that, like they filmed the entire accident just happened right then and there, or like right after when even the firefighters or police didn't even come, stroll by. The police and firefighters were already there by the time I got there, but even then, I had journalists from like across America uh, contact me on Twitter asking if they could use the footage and photos I've taken from the accident. So they're doing.
Do you ask for pay?
No. I'd say I'm not gonna ask for money for this, and it's like there are plenty of other people on the ground. I didn't get the point, but and I didn't want to demand it. I just said like, listen, just like, and this isn't exactly like the best type of like, it wasn't the most craziest footage or whatever. So I didn't even want to bother. But if they wanted to promote my account, I would just say, yeah, just go ahead, just attribute it to me because I want people to know if you're gonna use some photo that I took, I do want to get some credit for that. But that was it. Um, and nowadays, like in LA, I mean, there's this one Instagram account, I think it was like Alex Choi. He's doing Nightcrawler stuff, but it's again, these guys are now they're not going to go to the fucking KTLA studio, like knock on their door and say like, listen, I got this footage, like, how much do you want for it anymore? These guys are now just building profiles on their
Yeah.
Instagrams, on their TikToks, on their Twitter to just like post the stuff they're seeing. All right, they're just driving this one. I'm just one. He's a Korean guy as well. He's he's at almost every takeover. He's at um he's even like he's also like kind of like an ambulance chaser type of guy where he somehow he has I know he has a police scanner, so he's going to he's gonna ride around and just try to see whatever the fuck the cops are chasing, and he all he has. I mean, I think he might be using a professional, like a proper camera for some of this stuff. But this could all be easily just taken on his phone. The footage could easily be just taken on his own phone, right?
Yeah, but he's just building. So he just does this to build his own brand. He monetizes the stuff just
Through
however he's going
Instagram now,
to.
yeah. So this is how
Yeah.
it's changed. So it definitely didn't kill night crawling. These guys are
So
developing profiles on the app.
when you've gone out to a scene of an incident, and I ask this from a place of purely curiosity because I think I get it. Although I have not really done this myself, but what's in it for you? Are you just curious? You just an onlooker? You just can't
Yeah,
like
it's
stay
on the
away? Or?
onlooker. I do feel that I mean this sounds kind of gay, but like there is still like people forget it's not just for money, right? There is journalism. ideally it's to still be some type of public service where you're trying to inform the public of whatever happened. It should be that it's actually be a simple concept. Although now it's really, at the end of the day, now it's still the bottom line is sensationalism, getting as many clicks and views as you can, regardless of the truth of the matter. You just want to twist it in a way to gain the most engagement for to monetize it. Um, oftentimes when there is like I mean, it's important for me when I'm dealing with it's that the stuff that goes on in Los Angeles. I want people to see what I see for what it is. Like I just want them to see the reality of it. Not I don't care to twist it into or just get the facts wrong. And what kind of amazes me though is just that um even on the ground, even it's really wild how fast misinformation. Now we're in the age of how quickly misinformation spreads, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because and I was really unfortunate. People said, "Oh, you should delete this thing because you said it might have been a terrorist attack," and I was just like, "No, I'm still."
So
You've already
which thing was
established
that?
the fact this was the car crash that happened with the old lady. She was like some
Oh, yeah,
senile
yeah,
lady.
yeah.
She
So
killed.
you went to visit that site, yeah.
Yeah, she killed like three people were killed, several people were hospitalized. I think a few and then like two or three more of them are like they have debilitating um life altering injuries, and they all had to go to like the Reagan Hospital and all this stuff. And people thought like from what I heard on the ground, there was like guys that thought it was like a terrorist attack, but now and then it quickly realized no, it was just like some old lady who just killed these people. By the way, she's not gonna get charged or anything like that, but I'm sure people are gonna like all these like lawsuits and stuff for being involved now. But like all these lawyers and ambulance chasers getting involved. But the thing is, it's just kind of
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, I should like. I mean, I guess I should have deleted it, maybe. Like, but I was just like, well, I'm gonna just now. I'll just like leave it up there and then let people know that yes, it was not. I mean, I wish there was also like some kind of way to pin my immediate reply, like update. This was not a terrorist attack. This was just like an old lady.
So
That it almost looked.
you had put that out there or implied it. So you created fake news.
Misinformation.
Well, I mean, I said this was just
Yeah,
hearsay.
yeah, you corrected it. Yeah.
Yeah, I corrected it, but like that was like, I didn't want to just delete it, and then people like accuse me later of like trying to do like spread something like this intentionally, and because I'm certainly not gonna hide or block replies when people say it, and I'm just be like, but I just kind of wish there was like a way to just like update that whole post and saying, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
this is what.
the updating on X is like I don't know if you have like the premium feature, but it's like it's messed. I don't know. There's something weird about it. Like you can update within the first like hour or something, but it's like if someone has engaged, it like sometimes doesn't let you. And it'll be
Yeah,
like,
well,
oh,
no. What I
yeah.
wanted is just to have like a pinned reply to that specific post and
Oh,
going,
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
like update. Listen, there was no. It's not a terrorist attack. So we finally realized. Like, yeah, okay, so the final word is there was an old lady, and she had some weird mental episode or something like this where she just she had a lasp in controlling the car, and then these people are not dead. But there's nothing crazier. It's not like a Masada false flag or anything like this. But now you just see all this stuff now in on the X website, on the X app of just people just spraying terrible. This is like just blatant fake news. Not even trying to be funny or anything like that. Not these like sarcastic little posts. Just people just eat it up as real news, which is
Yeah.
pretty wild. And
Arturo, I'm wondering if you could describe Lou Bloom's ideology, if he even has one.
I mean, vis-a-vis his work.
Well, he's always talking about his like like what he thinks of how the world should be ordered or something, or like how he thinks interactions should play out.
Well, would you say that's like an almost when you say that, would you say it's an almost like autistic sort of necessitating of like control freak sort of thing? or is it more of like a, how do I put this? I hate to use the phrase
Possibly.
Nietzschean, but like almost instead of like a OCD thing, it's more of like a will to power thing. I know these terms are all kind of stale now, but does that make sense? Like more of a
Yeah, it does.
proactive reordering as opposed to like a sort of reactive reordering.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There's like interpersonally, throughout the movie, um, he's always telling people like how they should have interacted with him.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have negotiated with me this way. That's not the right way. It's like maybe he's read that in a book or something, and he's
Oh,
mad
that's
that they went off.
interesting.
He's mad they went off script, but it's also, I mean, it's obviously like it's also very situational. And this is what like really awful people do in real life, and these are some of the worst people to deal with. Where, and this is like that boss I was referencing. He was very guilty of this. Like they will you will find yourself in a situation, and however you respond, they'll be like, oh, that's obviously not how you respond in that situation, and then they'll give you some principle that is not transferable to any other situation. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
that's so true. That's so fucking annoying when people do that.
yeah, it's like they're like, when the CEO asks you this, you were supposed to say this. Everyone knows that, and then you like talk to other people, and like nobody knows that. Um like Lou is doing that all the time throughout the movie. Like he's like talking about like, he's like he's taking issue with the way that like his assistant, or the way that the news lady are negotiating with him, as if he's like knows the rules of negotiating. um be as if negotiating is this one thing and not like just a dozen different things that get lumped together and called
Yeah,
negotiating.
I guess I'd say it's like he's constantly coming up with justificate, like sort of post hoc justifications for what he is about, what he's just done, or justifications for what he's about to do. Does that make sense? Like that's the ordering principle is, and it's not even like he needs it to like feel morally good. It's almost like a universe sort of like writing you like I need to speak this what's the word justification into existence so that like the world existence knows I was right, but I know
Well,
I'm right, and I don't need to be convinced. I'm just sort of convincing the listener. Does that make sense?
yeah, but like the movie vindicates him though at the end, where he's sort of like he does things that are just so just like uh not very tactful, not very like rude, very inconsiderate. It's like, yeah, very blatantly psychopathic. And but then it's all vindicating for him, because like look what he is at the end of the movie, like look where he's at, right? um and
AVN, a news
yeah, and
gathering.
he just
Was it AVN?
it
Yeah.
well, no, you and then Avian's the Adult Video Network
Wasn't that the
Awards.
name of his thing? What's his name of his thing? AVP or something? Isn't it Action
Oh,
News or A Action News Network? I can't remember.
yeah. At least he has the, I think it was media, like something new media, like media innovations.
A news gathering service.
Yes. Yes. And but he definitely wins out in the end with all this kind of stuff where but I think the main two people he really negotiates with is the first partner he has is Riz Ahmed, like the
Yeah, Riz Ahmed, who goes by
yeah,
Rick. Has anyone who looked like that ever been named Rick?
Well, they do.
him.
So they do change. They do choose anglicized names sometimes. You know, I've worked with an Alex before, but I get what you
Yeah.
mean.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And Riz Ahmed, he's like what I mean. He's one of in real life. What is he? Is he Arab or is he? Yeah, he
He's
must be.
Pakistani.
Pakistani, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
Okay.
So
shade of brown plus Muslim equals Pakistani in my like sort of quick and dirty cosmology.
he's actually a British actor, so he's yeah, he's from a family that's yeah, I think he grew up
Academy
in the UK.
Award winning Riz Ahmed. Am I right?
What did he win for? That's the sound that drummer movie.
Oh wait, am I getting confused for I'm getting confused with the other guy. Who was the guy who played Freddie Mercury?
Oh, that's
The Egyptian guy. He is
yeah, he's
Egyptian.
Egyptian.
That's funny. His name is
Uh,
Riz. Yeah, it's Riz Ahmed. But yeah, he's
Rami
yeah,
Malek, I'm retarded.
Rami Malek. Yeah.
but he negotiates with him and the newscaster lady played by the director's wife, actually.
Renee Russo.
Renee Russo. Yeah.
Oh,
So
she's married to what is it, Dan Gilroy or something?
I
Who
believe
I
so.
think is
Yeah, I think that's
I think
her.
he's Tony Gilroy's brother.
Yeah,
Is
I assumed.
Yeah. So um and those are the well, and then in the beginning of the movie, he negotiates with the construction, like the contractor who owns the construction site, and he's just like, "I'm
Mhm.
not going to hire a fucking thief," But he
Yeah.
he really plays hard and trying to like, you know,
He
get the
asks
most out of those the stolen fence. Yeah,
he asks for an internship at like a scrapyard, which is really good. I
yeah.
thought that was
Yeah,
really
that
funny.
that
It's
was
like
amazing.
yeah. Um yeah, because it's like everything he knows, he just I guess he learned from these stupid airport books. So
But just quick aside, I was looking at I realized this movie got nominated for best original screenplay that year. The other
yeah.
contenders, it was Nightcrawler, Grand Budapest Hotel, Foxcatcher, Boyhood, and then Birdman, which won. So yeah,
A
it's
Birdman one. Okay.
pretty good lineup. I think I sort of feel like Birdman is like the least. I mean, I don't know Foxcatcher. I think it has more fans than Bird. I feel like Birdman is the one that is like been forgotten the most quickly of those five. But we give that
Fox
grace to Mexican directors.
I think Foxcatcher might be the lowest right now.
True, but I mean, I feel like there's
Yeah.
probably like because of it's like there are probably some people who are into just all the wrestling movies. There aren't that many. Whereas like Birdman, I mean, is anyone
Yeah.
writing for Birdman?
Well, yeah, and I think you're right. Yeah, Birdman fell further, right? Because it like won Best Picture, but then it's like pretty forgotten. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Anyway,
one talks about him really anymore. Like, no one's brought up. Nightcrawler has lasted quite a bit, and it's become like Lou Bloom's like character has become. He's not as prevalent as Patrick Bateman from American
Yeah.
Psycho, but there's
yeah,
guys that like to kind of bring him as a character up, or like in memes and like hype edits or as PFPs. You have like weird psychopathic boys on the internet that
yeah.
just be like, man, this guy was so
I
funny.
don't think you were there, Granite. But me and Obiscoff were talking. It was like a space shooting the shit, and it was because of The Bride, which he's in, which is not good. New movie that you should not go see. But he has like a small role, and I said Gyllenhaal was a legend. And at first, Obiscoff was like, I don't know about legend, but then like we went through his Wikipedia, and like, he's kind of like a baseball player who just keeps racking up doubles. You know what I mean? Like this, his
Wait,
roles
Scott is an
last.
actor. He's not. I thought he.
No. I'm saying we're talking about Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah,
Gyllenhaal's
yeah, yeah,
IMDb page.
yeah.
Yeah, I once did a thread about I noticed like everyone was sort of talking about Ryan Gosling as the literally me king. It's like, oh, he's got all these roles, and each one of them is another expression of literally me. And there's like that meme where it's like, what's your personality? Well, it depends. What's the next Ryan Gosling movie? But but I made this thread where it's like, hey, I think Gyllenhaal can go toe to toe on the literally me thing. And you look across his movies, and he's like, yeah, he's like autistic, or he's like a bubble boy, or like he's like
Donnie Darko. Everyone.
Yeah, he's Donnie Darko. He's got a lot of literally me roles.
I was thinking like Jarhead, Zodiac, Prisoners. Even Brokeback Mountain. If you're that kind of guy.
Literally,
no, exactly. Like, that the Brokeback Mountain era is very important to a literally me guy, because a lot of those guys do that.
I definitely had moments. I definitely had Marine Corps moments. With stuff with being made to play bugle. Using my mouth to play to play reveille and stuff like that. But like,
you were in the Marine Corps?
Maybe. Oh yeah, do you know this?
It's not. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I thought it was like just generally known.
Hey, I didn't even know you were Korean until just now.
Okay, no, I'm not.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm Cambodian, and maybe I should tell people I was like in the Navy or something. And then because allegedly I don't know if I shouldn't even bring this guy up. But this one guy who has more clout than me, but and has a lot of bunch of no. It's just like this guy I've had a bitter feud with, and he's like he claimed that I claimed that I was like a Marine in Bosnia that served in the Bosnian War and killed like 200,000 like 200 Serbs or something retarded. And I was like, I never done that. That's like just stolen valor.
Not even close to all the. I mean, I don't like know your exact age, but I feel like you're definitely not old enough to have done that. I mean, maybe I'm
no, but I'm not. But it's just kind of like But
I
this
mean,
guy in
it's just
particular,
retarded generally. You're right.
yeah. But
I
this
heard,
guy,
I heard
this
you, I heard you killed 70 Vietnamese on a fishing boat in the Gulf of America.
yeah, I mean, like, you can go ahead with that. But this guy is like, I mean, this guy in particular is part more of like the philosophy sphere, and he's just a roided out homosexual. So I just again, but I
That
don't want to
doesn't
get
narrow
into.
it down.
Yeah, exactly. But
But,
he's claiming that I lied about all this kind of stuff about my military service, but
well, but I
I
wanted to say
definitely
about
know it's wrong.
Gyllenhaal, like
Yeah.
we can talk about like the themes of the movie, which are important, like the writing, which is great, the direction, but like it's just important to sort of remember how like most people like watch movies in a sense. Like Gyllenhaal's face, like Gyllenhaal. That's why I wanted to bring up like him being like a legend of our generation. Like his like face, his persona, even if he's like doing a specific character, and like it just you know the movie lives and dies on it. Like the movie is structured all around that, and like we can talk about him, but like just like watching like the things he does with his face, watching him act, like that is like the bulk. Like that's why the movie works. That's what the movie is. You know what I mean? And that's why it is such a resonant film. Is that like
Well, what is
Without
okay?
he brings himself to it, and like
Is
and
without
Nightcrawler?
him,
Okay, go
without
ahead.
him, it's a kind of good Netflix movie.
yeah.
Is well, would Nightcrawler be his true like his greatest role, or is it really just gonna
No,
is he forever gonna be like the Donnie Darko for everyone in everyone's
I
mind?
mean, the top five I think are like Brokeback, Donnie Darko, Zodiac, Baby, Jarhead. I don't know. Then that's like
Zodiac.
second tier.
I don't know if he doesn't do that much in Zodiac. I mean, he has a good performance in Zodiac. Zodiac's the
Yeah,
best movie he's been
I mean,
in.
he's
But
like the
it's a
main.
great
He's like the
movie.
closest thing to a main character in that movie. I'd say.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
it is a great movie, but it's so funny you bring this up because it's like he's so like downplayed in the movie. You know what I mean? You
it
don't realize, oh
doesn't.
yeah, he is in the movie. He is a main character in this movie, but he's not as there's not
Well,
it
he's a,
really
he's
is.
a he's a Boy Scout in that movie as opposed to like a total psychopath here, in which I
Yeah.
guess demonstrates range. Maybe Zodiac is just for like movie nerds, and like it's not. It wouldn't be like one of the first ones to come to mind to a normal person. But I mean, what's he been in like in the last like 5 years?
He's
Does
done a
anyone remember?
couple. Like he did that ambulance movie. I think it might have been called Ambulance. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was in
Um,
Roadhouse, I guess.
Oh yeah, he's
The
Roadhouse.
ambulance one was kind of good actually, but it's just kind of like insane
The
movie.
Roadhouse remake is pretty entertaining. I mean, it wasn't a good movie, but it's like him and Conor McGregor going at it, and it's such a ridiculously.
Yeah,
I
that
just
was
Yeah,
found
fun.
it really fun.
that's such an amazing casting choice that like demonstrates. I mean, I wouldn't say he was necessarily like the perfect choice for the role, but it just demonstrates how versatile he is. I mean, that he can be cast as like the Zodiac guy, this guy, and then they're like,
He was the
who
Prince
are
of.
we gonna do? Yeah, who are we gonna do to be
Remember?
fucking Swayze for our generation? Let's pick
Yeah.
let's pick
Do you remember Prince of
Gyllenhaal.
Persia? Remember the Prince of Persia reboot, like
I
the
do.
actual
Yeah,
video
yeah,
game
yeah.
adaptation? He's Prince of Persia. He was in. It was what's the LAPD movie? Was it called
End
LAPD?
of
What was it?
Watch.
Yeah, yeah.
End
End
of
of Watch. Yeah.
Low key. That might be like his what top two or three of like movies. Just like normal people would be like, oh, Gyllenhaal, he's the guy from blank. You know what I mean?
I'm on his IMDb, and they have like that little section that says known for, and I assume this is pulled like algorithmically, like or like it's informed by user searches, right? Like so if it's like if someone searches the name Jake Gyllenhaal, like what is it they want that are looking at, I assume that's how they generate that. And the four that they come up with are Nightcrawler,
Mm-hmm.
Brokeback,
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Darko, and
Mm-hmm.
Prisoners.
Interesting.
So
I'd say Day After Tomorrow is like a pretty like a normie classic. My
yeah,
mom loves that
yeah, I
movie.
love
My
that. I
mom
love that as
honestly
a kid.
has watched like every apocalypse movie on every streaming service, basically like, because of that movie's success. So I'd say it's definitely influential on a certain apocalyptic strain. Although it's not like great cinema or anything. But I mean, yeah, he's been around, and like it's almost subconscious the level to which like that dissonance between like I recognize this person, but I also like they're so good that I forget that because they embody the role so perfectly. Like
He was on.
some roles need to be an unknown, but some roles like it's better when they like are so good that it almost feels like they're an unknown, like you're meeting them for
Yeah.
the first time.
I'm looking at his list, and his first movie was City Slickers in 1991.
It's hilarious.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
this is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
He was
Yeah, he was a boy in that movie. He was a little boy in.
Yeah, he was just a little kid, I'm sure. But
that's funny
yeah,
as fuck.
Yeah, he's from before. Obviously, it's Maggie. His sister's Maggie Gyllenhaal, which is, I guess they were kind of, she's kind of cursed because she ends up being like the uglier sibling, obviously uglier sibling, and like,
yeah.
you know,
I just tweeted about this, about how like the tragedy of like a woman having a brother that's prettier.
yes, yeah, and I'm not a big fan of her regardless in any way, but but they're all both like very outspoken liberals. But I don't want to turn this into like a political podcast or whatever.
No,
Um,
you can do that. That's fine. That's kind of what we do.
yeah,
Have you never listened to the show, Zuki? Be honest.
I would know. I was think I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. Maybe I'm pretty bad at it. So, um, but it's just kind of like I don't want to be. But the thing is, it's just like I'm like a guy like myself who have a lot of moral failings. I think the last thing I need to tell people about is to be some kind of moral fag in any way and get on my
Well,
soapbox.
I guess Zuki makes a good point. Obviously, this podcast is not like it's a safe space, as it were, for
Yeah,
right
yeah,
politics.
no,
But
I know.
but I was just gonna say, like, we can. It is true that, like, our critiques of Maggie Gyllenhaal, there's plenty to talk about, sort of restricted to the artistic sphere, or alternately to her looks,
Yeah,
without even bringing politics into it.
and
There are
that's
But
her
many
anyway, yeah,
there are many
she's,
aesthetic criticisms that could be levied.
yeah.
exactly.
Um, So yeah, but yeah, Nightcrawler probably is his. When I look at his like filmography, I'd say Nightcrawler is probably his best work. Oh, by the way, I haven't seen
Yeah,
Prisoners. A lot of people clip Prisoners, and
Prisoners.
I always look up like, wait, where's this movie from? Oh, it's Prisoners, and I have yet to watch it yet. That has Paul Dano in it, right? He like beats up Paul Dano in this movie, right? In that movie, right?
Yeah. I've done an episode on Prisoners. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, have you
Um,
done an episode on Paul Dano and how he cries in like every fucking movie he's in?
we have talked about Paul Dano quite a bit.
Crying, yeah, yeah. That's good. I got to check out that episode then. Yeah, fuck. I haven't watched
Um,
Prisoners, by the way. I have to sit down and watch it then.
no,
Wow.
Prisoners is good. I mean,
Yeah,
Prisoners is a better movie than Nightcrawler.
really,
For
really.
sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's Prisoners to me. I'm not sure if so. I really like the thriller genre. I'm not sure there's a better thriller of the past like 25 years. So
then
Wow.
Nightcrawler.
no, then Prisoners.
Oh,
Nightcrawler,
uh,
yeah, not,
high praise. I can't remember. Have you done Prisoners?
yeah. I did Prisoners, yeah, and it's yeah, I love that one. I mean, a lot of people that I recommend it to, they watch it once, they're like, that was too thrilling. I will never watch it again.
Yeah, that's what Bill Simmons says about Gone Baby Gone.
And
Yes,
that
and
came out a
it's
year before.
similar to that. Yeah.
That came out a year before Nightcrawler. So that he was hitting some like home runs,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Like
During
he
the
did
early
Prisoners.
20
Yeah.
during the early 2010s, he was just like, I'm going to some dark places, and like, I hope you follow.
Yeah.
He had to get his lick back after Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, I guess.
All right, here's a question for you guys. Who's worse, Lou or Nina?
I had thought about that. I mean,
Because she doesn't have the excuse of sociopathy or whatever it is he has.
what's like the female version of that?
Just being
Just-
female, I think.
just being female?
Just
Well, then
like
she's gonna-
just chromosomes.
I mean, I still gotta say him, but like, she definitely is not a innocent player in how it all goes down. What do you think, Zuki?
Well, here's the thing. She even though I think she totally knows, recognizes, okay, this guy is like a cold-blooded killing psychopath. Here, she knows. She probably knows. But she's gonna be like, I'm gonna protect my asset. and LAPD is like now like on her ass with him because of like somehow he got all this footage, and she's just like, nah, I'm gonna put my foot down and like whatever. But so, who's worse? I don't know. I feel I feel more sympathetic to her though, but she is what she is.
Yeah, I mean,
No-
that's the age-old question. Like, to what extent is it like, do things like self-awareness or almost like maybe like an inner sort of guilt mitigate or like make worse someone's actions. Do you know what I mean? Because I've always thought about
Yeah,
that. It's like,
exactly.
is it worse when you sort of in your own mind you think you're doing something bad versus if you're better at justifying to yourself? What do you think, Grant?
I mean, I guess it's like a absolute versus relative thing. Like Lou is absolutely worse. He's worse in absolute terms,
Yeah.
and she might be worse in relative terms, like because, like I was saying, and she doesn't have. I mean, I don't know if you would think of of his. I don't know. I mean, would you think of someone? And I don't know much about these, like the actual like DSM designations for these things, but like being a psychopath or a sociopath, I'm not sure which is which, but I mean, is that just like a diagnosis? Is it like the Tourette's guy who says the N word? He just like can't help it. Like can he not control his sociopathy? Like, so basically, it's like, but she presumably knows better. So there's a sense in which she's straying from her. She's certainly straying from her like sense of morality more than he is, because he thinks he's actually like a decent person.
Yeah, yeah. I would give credence to that. But again, that goes back to my thought of like what I mean, do I even think psychopathy is real? Because there are like people who really believe in the concept, they do say like, yeah, it can't be cured. Sometimes it like recedes with age, in the same way to like violence does. But otherwise you just sort of have the treatment sort of involves maybe trying to rationally explain to them why, giving them rational reasons why like doing immoral things is not in their long-term interest. Does that make sense? Like giving
Yeah.
them like an action plan of like, hey, listen, I know you don't care if you harm all these people, but like you will succeed more by doing things the right way. And here's XYZ. Like that's what I read. It was actually when Peace Cop and I were doing the looking into the Columbine thing.
Uh-huh.
That was when I read about psychopathy because they said the same thing about Klebold,
Yeah.
who's an interesting foil to Lou Bloom, perhaps.
I'm not sure how compelling that would be, because it's like it seems like a lot of people would hear that and be like, well, that's like obviously not true. Like being good is not in my long-term interest. Like I can just quietly and secretly be bad. That would be better for my long-term interest. But
That's true. To be fair, like I think it's like these are people who've already been like arrested and they're in prison, so like they're
yeah,
explaining to them how like, do you want to get the fuck out of here? You gotta play ball. Does that make sense?
yeah, that does. Yeah,
But I agree with you that like with someone, it seems like you know not someone you can trust to put it lightly.
yeah,
Well, yeah, but then again, like you could take the same question and apply it to like Klebold and Harris, like who was worse, Klebold was like but Harris sort of went along with it, and even though he had more reservations, or he seemed like the more innocent one. And who knows how that story really went down, but I don't know. All this to say that like all good dramas, I guess, really, like there are characters with different moral codes, as it were, all reacting to the same situation, and then allowing the audience to sort of compare reactions. Because that is, I think I read somewhere like great drama is like people with different moral codes like being forced to interact and like
yeah,
make accommodations for each other or like work around it. Or that's an
yeah,
element of great drama, and I think you certainly get that here. With a guy who basically bowls over everyone that he sort of decides is doing things the wrong way.
yeah. What did you guys think of the like I guess it's not exposition exactly, but the conveyance of like a some sort of social viewpoint where the lady Nina is explaining like the news business to Lou, and she's like, our viewers, are like it when the victims are white and are hurt by minorities, and in the suburbs, not in the urban core. Like, what did you guys think of that?
Is that true?
That's what she says. She tells them. She like
yeah, yeah.
she literally says like
No, no, no,
our
no.
viewers.
I just like my first reaction was just like I wonder if that's actually like if in real life if that's true.
Oh, I mean, I think in terms of newsworthiness, it's like it is true. I think it's like you don't if the local news reported on every time someone was shot in like the south side of Chicago, it's like, oh, like people aren't that interested. But if it's a story of like someone from the south side who tried to do like raid a house in a nice part of Chicago, that's very
Yeah,
newsworthy and very interesting to people.
I guess you're right. I mean,
But it's
Chicago
very but it's
particularly has a whole.
that's what I knew. But that's when I knew like the guy who wrote the movie, the film, like the actor, the writer and director. He's a very like left wing guy. When I
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
heard,
it's like what she's saying, I think, is true, but they're framing it as like this thing. Because you know that thing that they love to do this every time, like if like a 10-year-old blonde girl gets abducted by like a random guy at a mall, there's this big national manhunt, and then you'll see on Twitter or on social media, you'll see all these like older black ladies who are like, they're like, oh, tons of black kids go missing every year, and there's no news coverage for them. And it's like, yeah, because it was like their dad, and like you don't do a national news story for like every every custody dispute.
this is fucking hilarious. Knowing that, I mean, this is terrible. But everyone knows who's the most famous missing person so far in America.
Shit.
It's the Guthrie's mother.
Oh, duh. I thought you meant in history. Yeah, you're right. Is she still
Yeah,
missing?
I think so. I think but now everyone's speculating it's probably was it Sarah Guthrie's sister and the son-in-law is the guy she married that
Is
was
she?
actually
Do
plotting to
people think
kidnap her?
she's? Do people think she's like dead now?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been
They
a.
assume she's just dead. And so
Fucking.
this is a small world moment where I like literally just like look down at my phone. I just wake up one morning on my fucking phone and I see the news about Torrance man arrested for posing as one of the as Guthrie's kidnappers. I forget the mother's name. Her name was it Amanda Guthrie? Like
I
who's
don't know.
okay?
Savannah.
You guys know Savannah, yeah. So, but you guys know she's like kind of the newscaster's mother, right? The news, like,
Yeah,
and she this is a guy known since high school. He got arrested. He was not the actual kidnapper. But I see his face. I look him up, and it's like, yes, I'm like I'm friends with this guy on
Wow.
social media, yeah, website, and and then he he posed as the kidnapper, contacts the FBI, or like he contacts like the one, like I forget exactly who, but he contacts one of the families, what it's the family member, I think the main woman, and poses as the kidnapper, saying you need to like send me this like Bitcoin if you want to see your mother alive again or something. Probably this is what I'm gonna. But basically, next thing you know, you have the feds just like battering
In
ram
his anus, yeah.
fucking Torrance and arresting him. And
what's that you're saying as your best friend? Your best
no,
friend
no,
was
no, 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 he's not my best friend.
I'm
He's
just
like
kidding.
I've known him since like high school. I used to go to parties with this guy, and like I don't know what went down. I know he's actually. I mean, last time I heard from him, I think he had a baby daughter. He got married, and then I don't know, things that fell off, maybe drug issues or something like that. And he was
But he
like a
had
good looking, popular guy. He wasn't a smart guy though. I always knew he
but
was.
he had nothing to do with the abduction. He just wanted to cash in.
Yeah, yeah. So you posed as one of the kidnappers and then demanded, this person to like, I think it's the lady, I forget her name. Is it Savannah Guthrie? Like
Savannah's the famous one, yeah.
yeah, yeah. He basically contacted Savannah Guthrie demanding, she give him like some Bitcoin in his
Okay,
wallet or
yeah.
something.
Anyway, yeah.
But
So
now they're saying that it's kind of a Fargo situation where the actual family.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but that's kind of, but that to me is just really funny, like just to have somebody who would do something this fucking outrageous and stupid, but he's fucked. I mean, he's gonna go to prison for that. I think. I mean, I don't know how. I don't think they might even give him a year for this, but it's just sort of like you can't just be like, "No, it was a prank." Like, dude, you can't just pose as a kidnapper to try to like fraudulently
okay, yeah,
get
yeah.
ransom money, you know?
Would you say
And
that's a Lou Bloomian sort of, or would he have done it in a way that worked?
yeah, he did it. Yeah, but he's like Lou Bloom wasn't this retarded, and
Yeah, exactly.
now I'm kind of
Maybe
doxing
that's the
myself in my
most.
local fucking.
That's fine.
Well, there's something. Yeah, Bloom's stuff. He gets away with everything. In the third act of the movie, they try and introduce. This is, I think, the weakest part of the movie. They introduce these cops who are like suspect. They know that Lou is up to something, and I kind of feel like in real life this would not. It wouldn't. This wouldn't have happened really. They would have probably just kind of like because I don't know. It just felt like they're like, well, we need one other like obstacle for Lou before we can finish this movie. And so they introduce this cop, but she's really off-putting. Like you want like when Lou sits across the table from her and she's like, "Are you sure you didn't see anything or are you lying cuz you have more footage and you don't want us to know about it?" And I'm siding with Lou. I'm like, why am I emotionally wanting him to win in this exchange?
Well, do you think that that's intentional on the part of the movie, or not? Because that's the thing. I mean, I remember I was looking at the big picture. They were talking about Eddington, and they were talking about how it's kind of impossible not to root structurally for the main character, even if you find their acts like objectively heinous. So I do feel like it's
Yeah.
not necessarily like not necessarily a demerit against the film that like these antagonists to him, people who are like on the side of the law and like clearly morally in the right, are still like you root
Well,
against them,
yeah,
you want him to win.
But by
I
the way,
don't hold it.
you do notice who plays the LAPD detective on his ass is a fat black woman. Very
Oh yeah, and she's in other stuff. I recognize her from other things,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, she comes. I'm not faulting the movie for like making me sympathize with him, or sympathize is not the right word, but siding with him. But I'm kind of what I'm kind of saying is like that like piece of drama or that thing to overcome just felt sort of tacked on at the end.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I, I sort of feel the same way. But I guess it was logical that like he couldn't totally, it wouldn't totally escape notice. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
still, yeah, structurally, it was. I sort of agree. It was the weakest point.
Um.
A lot of movies, I mean, just by the third act, it's weird. I have to assume like writing a script for a film that actually is going to get made is deceptively hard, because so many movies the plots just get so convoluted by the third act. You can just imagine them being like, "Fuck it, let's just shoot it." You know what I mean? I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. This movie's
Yeah.
not that convoluted, but like some of them get really twisty and crazy. And it's almost like I don't understand how you thought this was the best way to resolve this movie, but I mean I have to assume there's a sunk cost thing going on with a lot of
So
them.
by the way, so in the scene, right, the big part of the scandalous part of the scene is where yeah, I mean he's going on the scene of accidents or murderers, and in Jake Gyllenhaal case, he like sneaks it. Well, what he did was pretty illegal, but like like in real life now, again, since like everyone has a phone. Oh yeah, you're gonna get like people have been posting footage of like dead bodies or stuff like they just walked in on a murder scene and they like posted right on fucking X and Instagram or whatever. I mean this has happened, but now it's not. But again, I guess technically this doesn't. It cuts out like the kind of monetization of how the old system was or whatever, right? So because he has that footage of like all these people massacred in the home invasion, and he's basically shopping around of just trying to say like how much you want for this crazy footage. But now people are just posting it on like they just posted it on their account. Whether or not they're monetized, that's another issue. But you
Yeah,
know,
he has a clever legal excuse, like just saying, "Oh, I thought I heard someone calling for help, so I was like good Samaritan supposed to enter. I
yeah.
was doing
Yeah,
the right thing by entering." Um,
I actually, by the way, a kid that was like on his like e-bike on that in that Westwood crash that happened at the ranch market where the three people were killed.
yeah.
He literally, I mean, it's a kid just rode up on his bike and just like filmed like the casualties and like the fucking paramedics trying to revive people and all this shit. Like, and again, I don't think he didn't. He wasn't exactly like some Nightcrawler stringer guy. He's just a
No, it just
kid with an Instagram account.
everyone is everyone is this way now, and there's a lot of people for other reasons. I mean, for various reasons related mostly to technology and phones, are like desensitized and kind of sick now, where like that this impulse to like just pull out your phone and like film a guy dying or something just like seems not that weird to a lot, especially a lot of young people. They're just like, yeah, what else would I do? What, you know?
I mean, there is a point. I mean, it's just like there's like the point to that would be just trying to get if it's like some crazy incident, you just want to record everything that's like right there at the moment. Just like
Yeah, it
whether
could
it's like
be
a
relevant.
perpetrator or like for investigators later, or you
Yeah, I don't know.
you know,
It's just
but
like
it you
if
know when
something isn't filmed, if something isn't online, doesn't exist in some people's like worldviews. So they wouldn't phrase it like this or even think of it like this, but they almost feel like like I'm doing. This is a positive act of like you said, like recording it, of like
yeah,
sort of
it's a public
ensuring that
service for
yeah,
informing the
exactly,
public.
exactly.
Wait, but I
Yeah,
don't. Maybe I'm not following, or maybe I didn't articulate what I was thinking before. But like, I think a lot of the people who film stuff, they don't have any sort of sense of like they probably don't have a sense of like honor about what they're doing. Like they don't
no,
think
no,
they're
no.
doing good.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that either. It's almost like this is a pretentious or like an ontological thing. Like somehow it just feels like right to them that they need to do this. Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
ninety
Not
nine
not
Yeah,
percent
because
of
it's
it
a positive, not
is
because it's
like
like the right thing to do, but just like does it make sense? Like existentially right, not morally right.
yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
99% of them are. It's just kind of like their world star moment, right? So it's like, well, oh, dude, I'm gonna get a fight. I'm gonna just show it. Like, damn, this fight's gonna break out right in front of me, or there's like a shooting, or I mean, in the case, like if I were to go to a takeover or whatever, and I've also
yeah.
filmed
Yeah,
that as well and posted it. I was like on a New Year's Eve, and then my like the place I was at, there was like a little takeover kind of happened right
So
behind me.
a takeover is just when like a TikToker says I'm going to be at some place and like they
No,
get 1,000 brown people there or something.
No, well, kind of, but with their cars, and they take over an intersection, and then typically what happens is it becomes a sideshow where you have
Yeah.
these
Okay.
cars pulling donuts or like doing all kinds of stupid stunts, and then sometimes it ends up with like people, some gang member bringing in a stolen carjacked vehicle and then later setting it on fire or something crazy, and then you have the LAPD and the riot police like finally come down and try to arrest everybody. But
Yeah.
this
I
stuff
like
is
when
happening.
they're spinning their cars and invariably hit a bunch of people
That's the
in the
best
same
part.
place.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
love going. I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna. Oh, I'm gonna get in the middle and like post this for the gram. I will fucking film you get run over because you're an idiot. But like, like I try my best to really stay away from if I know that like there's a takeover ahead of me. And sometimes but
well, that's an interesting
what?
point. Like you filming like the idiotic person. I get not saying this is your motive or whatever, but like and almost like it's like a confirmation. Like I'm the one who's on the correct side of the film. Like I'm not the retard being filmed. I'm
Yeah,
the person. And so it's almost like Lou Bloom. Like in his, if we could call him a control freak, like he sort of throughout. Again, he doesn't start off wanting to do this. It just sort of stumbles into it. But like he sort of discovers, almost like Ripley and tells Mr. Ripley that he's like good at it, and he's good at using the images to manipulate people.
So oh,
He's on the right side of the camera, and like that's his power.
here's the thing. By like 2020, so 2014, you're Lou Bloom. By like 2019, 2020, he would have probably just fully become a YouTuber doing fake
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Frankly, even by 2014, like as we discussed, like this was probably a bit anachronistic, but yeah, definitely by the 2020s, by the the
He's
Biden
doing like
era,
Dar Man videos, but maybe like more gruesome.
they got to do Nightcrawler
I just
too.
imagine him being like Ian Miles Chong, but like just that because he's handsome and like it's even funnier because didn't Ian Miles Chong start out as like a YouTuber or he tried to be, but he's just like a hideous little goblin. Like
I'm sure he's
he's
tried
just best
everything.
at being like a fucking Elon Musk reply guy, and he makes plenty of money, at least like in his status, I guess, and in his place on the internet now. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he's probably one of the top Malaysians now.
Yeah, that's the fucking crazy part. So,
I'm just looking at my notes here. I like the part when they finally start making money, and it shows them eating because it's like we finally got enough money to buy street food.
yeah,
That's good.
very LA. If they did they go wait? Did they buy tacos in the
They
movie? I
got
remember seeing
burritos or
that.
tacos or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's good. That's good. No, and I know all some of the best stands out here. So that's
Um,
fine.
I like how he's always. I already mentioned this earlier, but he reads these like dumb MBA books, or he's always quoting like Malcolm Gladwell type stuff. Like, oh, they did a study where if you if you whatever, if you smile before talking to someone, whatever, just stupid stuff. Like he's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
quoting that. I don't have too much else to say. I'm just looking at these my notes for the end. I got an Armand White thing. I'll maybe read at the end.
Huh.
Local news. I mean, this is maybe one of the last movies that anyone ever really thought about local news as part of their movie. This was the tail end of that enterprise. It's hard to imagine anyone like.
Well, actually,
I mean,
local news now also is they're really making a presence on social media as well, especially like LA. So you have like, I mean, I'm following them on Instagram and like
that's what like
Facebook.
a lot of local news is like. That is so funny because I have noticed and thought about that where it's like local news is now like they have the show, right? They have like the nightly news, but like that's like ancillary to their Facebook page. Like their Facebook page is like their real product now. Like that's like the thing that they actually exist to do at this point.
But it's better. I mean, they're getting more like oftentimes the local news is getting more, especially if it happens that creates some crazy incident in LA and outrage of certain criminal incidents. It's finally not because CNN would like not try to keep out like racialized crime as long if the perpetrator is not white, the racialized crime will not be covered by CNN, right? It won't
Yeah,
be.
local news is interesting because the people who staff it and stuff are not the same as like who would staff like NBC Nightly News. It's like if you work at NBC Nightly News, you went to journalism school at like NYU or whatever. If you are working at a network in like some in the Midwest or something, you went to a state school, you're probably not nearly as ideological. Like you're probably like left leaning or whatever, but you're not
Yeah, they're
like
all like they're still left leaning people, obviously.
but they're not bought into the project at the highest like ideological level, and they don't even sometimes you can tell when you see these segments that they don't even know the ideological lines that they're like stepping on.
It's not as
Like
competent or not as like illiterate, which is
yeah,
in
there's
the
yeah,
in
there's
the
a
literature.
there's yeah. And then they also have like a different like business structure where they are incentivized to show like the black on white crime or something like that, whereas
Mhm.
like NBC Nightly News is incentivized to not show it. So you do
Yeah.
it is a different thing, but all that said, like LA does seem like a place where local news would still be a big deal because it's such a big, important, dynamic city. But most cities, I feel like it's just like such a like it's like a thing that's totally over.
Oh, I mean, I recently caught. I mean, they're like the stuff that happens in LA. Even somehow like the New York Post covers it first, even before any of the local news, right? Because there was a recent like motorcycle takeover. I've like known something about, and like that. But that happened like in kind of like connected to that the Sixth Street Bridge, um, where they decided to have like a big takeover, and then like the New York Post described it as a menacing mob, and but it
There
wasn't.
could be menacing mobs here.
Yeah, but like knowing it was just like a bunch of kids that are just going to do a little sideshow, and no one got hurt, and no one. But I mean, yeah, what they did was technically illegal, but it was very much like a vacant spot in LA, and but yeah, they did this like they kind of like made a big deal about it. But I see the reactions online, and like people were not very happy, or it's like they say it's like
Yeah.
it contributes to the decline or whatever. So you see all these like motorcycle radical kids that I like to call them. They're getting a bad rap already. But I mean and they're now people are there's like public demand to like bring the hammer down on these guys. Although I think maybe the more of the outrage should be on you know, people they're just like robbing old fucking ladies, right? Like, which also happens a lot more, and it's a
Yeah, a
lot
lot
more
of
painful.
gotta they've got a limited amount of resources, gotta deploy them in I guess the proper directions. You know what I find? Okay, I just one. This is like the last thing I have to say about the movie per se is like, does it really seem like he could like sort of extort her? That did he was his leverage over her that like
Yeah, I know what you're
strong
saying.
at that juncture in the movie that she would just you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally. It's like, really, she's like doing perverted stuff with him. Is his
I mean,
stuff? Is it? Yeah,
is it just because he's hot? Because if that's the case, then that makes the move. Then that changes the I guess affect of the movie. If it's maybe more of
it's
like a Paul Schrader thing.
funny to think of her going to those to that extent, and then just to just have them like downsize 90% of their like newsroom anyway in 2 years.
Right, 2 years
Yeah.
later.
Here's one of my things too that I thought was funny. So they run the story about the home invasion, and the sort of implication there is that urban crime is coming to the suburbs, and that's what makes it interesting and newsworthy. And then later they learned that the homeowners were selling drugs. They were like drug cartel people or something like that. And the news manager guy is like, well, don't we have to we got to update that because that changes the tenor of the story or whatever. And the lady's not interested in it, but like, to me, I'm like, that's still like the same story. That's still a story of like urban crime coming to the suburbs. Like, but he sort of pushes up back against that. But I don't know. I don't see how that's like that different. That's still like would seem to me to have the same level of newsworthiness or news
Yeah,
interest.
I guess the implication is that it's more of a what's it called outlier. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily think that's the case, or like that wouldn't make me feel better per se. But I guess I get why.
I guess okay. I guess the distinction is like a viewer is watching it, and if they think it's just a random people from South Central coming into their nice neighborhood, like that's not what it was. If you're a rich person and you're not selling drugs, you're safe, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's typically the case, and you know, it's now I'm thinking about another recent event that happened in LA, but that's besides the point. It's just like it was actually two Israelis that were like murdered gruesomely by but what were Georgian like Russian mob type guys. One I believe he was beaten to death, maybe even beheaded. I forget, but like,
That's fucked
but
up.
it was like, but yeah, but it's sort of like, wait, why would the Georgians just go to his place and just like beat him to death? It's probably because they were in the drug business or doing something illegal and dealing with these guys. So
That
that's
sounds
how
like
it
the show
happened.
Barry. That sounds like HBO's Barry.
Yeah, no, this has literally happened, and you can Google that. And then it was kind of funny because, like, there's like
That
Jewish
is
Twitter,
crazy. Yeah.
Jewish Twitter is like thinking like this was like a hate crime. Was this like an anti-Semitic hate crime? It's like probably not, dude. I mean, it's like,
They're trying to
like
Matthew Shepard it.
just like yeah, listen. There's like pretty shysty Israelis that probably are dealing in like criminal activity with other criminal types, and if they get beaten, like, and if they're beaten to death by like Russian mobsters, they were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, right? So. But again, I don't know how much of a follow up that was. LA is a city filled with such antics and dangerous people, and I don't know. People think I should be scared of what I do online. Like, not exactly. I mean, there's scarier people in LA, and that I know of, and it'll be hard. I don't really care to divulge on that either because that's just
Is that so?
no, because then I'll probably end up being one of those Israelis that get beaten to death. So you know, it's better to yeah, it's the stuff online is a playground, really, or it's very far removed but it's also just like a weird
Yeah, you're right.
mix of people
That's such a
because you deal with like super pussy people that are like that have like Roman warrior avatar legion avatars and think they're the shit. They're just like some dude I could
Zuki's
bully in
like,
real life.
what do you mean cyberbullying? Just close your phone.
Well,
Turn off your
yeah,
phone.
turn off your eyes. It's Tyler. That tweet is it's evergreen, eternal, one of the best Tyler Creator bangers. So Tyler the Creator. boy.
Okay, we can wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Here's a little snippet from Armand White. He says he didn't like the movie. A big surprise.
Oh.
Armand White not liking a movie. Jake Gyllenhaal's one-note weight loss performance as a sociopath who sells graphic, bloody Ouija style. I don't know what Ouija style means. Ouija style video of street tragedies to a Los Angeles TV news station doesn't excuse the smugness of Nightcrawler. He calls it Nightcrawlers, but
Nice.
Sounds all right.
there's more, but
Fixating on the weight loss.
I mean, that is a thing, like where actors are like, I'm going to do my weight loss movie because that's like the Academy likes it when you lose a bunch of weight for a role, but this isn't that much of a weight loss thing. It seems like you maybe lost 25 pounds.
Yeah, but he looks good. He looks good as like almost like a borderline like meth head type of looking guy, but I don't think it didn't really convey that. But I think it conveyed this guy was a hungry striver. He's hungry, right? That's why he does definitely looks thinner and kind of a little emaciated in the movie, but it just shows this guy's hungry and he wants to get the big bucks later on and kill anyone who stands in his way, I guess. And it's Nightcrawler. It's just an excellent movie, universally praised, and I mean, I think all of us
is it universally praised? I actually don't know that.
It was like by the time when it came out, it was winning all. Yeah, it was nominated, and think about it. Yeah, by the time it came out, people were just the budget was what, like less than 10 million for the movie. I think Nightcrawler was like actually pretty low budget, and then it made like at least 10 times the money it made. The money it took to produce.
Yeah, it is 95% on the tomato meter. That's higher than I thought. I would have guessed like 80.
Yeah, everyone liked it that I saw. I walked out in the theater pretty satisfied as a film goer, along with Ludacris. So there you go.
Yeah. Ludacris, yeah. Ludacris unavailable for comment. Okay. Thank you guys. We'll end it there. Thank you guys for joining. Maybe Arturo will unblock Zuki. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. That's the sequel, Nightcrawler 2.
Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Thank you. I had a great time.
I did. I thought it was a good chopping it up. I was glad to have Zuki's perspective on this. I always love being on Granite Mountain, and can't wait for the next one.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.